Daddy's back.
Yo, what's poppin', all my peeps? It is I, your host of the most Renaissance man who always thinks he can, and champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back in the Yard of Streams for another edition of Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. And you can't be, having Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show without the best of the West. You can't forget about Sara Marshall. What's popping, girl?
Hey, yo.
Hello.
Hello. How we doing? Yo. What's popping to David?
I'm at that stage where I just can't stop yawning. Sorry in advance.
You've done it like 3 times.
I know, but it's kind of like, when it's like, what is it called? Like, not contagious, but you know what I mean? It's like you see someone yawn, so you yawn.
It's like a mimic.
Yeah, it's like I'm doing
mirroring.
it myself, like passing my yawn.
And then, geez, you got to look away from the camera.
I know. I'm going to do it again.
Yeah, but don't look at the camera.
Well, I covered my mouth.
I don't give you a cover mouth. Don't look at the camera.
All right, well.
Well, no, because then you're going to think in the mirror thing what we're talking about.
I guess.
I'm just thinking. I'm just looking out for you, Sarah. Right? That's what we're doing. Just trying to look out for each other out there, Because, it's been just another week leading up to WrestleMania week. I'm buying my ticket tonight as we speak. I still have to, sell those tickets, those extra ones that we got. If anyone knows anybody, please hit me up in the comments. Work on that more. And wrestling's been great this week. Like it's been a hell of a week, and we're gonna go long today, guys. So buckle the F up. All right, we're going long today because your boy is off the next 4 days from his actual job that pays him a salary. And we are going to celebrate love. So I'm going to celebrate love this weekend at a wedding. So I'm very excited for that. But I got to get all my wrestling out. All right. My family's not the best with wrestling. They don't get it like the peeps here in the Yard of Streams do. All right. They don't get it. So I want to get it all out with you guys. And we have a lot of fun stuff to talk about, introduce. And I'm just excited to talk about it finally. I have no restrictions. I don't have to worry about this person calling me, this person asking for more tuna or lobster meat or scallops, whatever the case may be. I can just sit back here and introduce our first segment, Sara. The best and worst things of the week.
Don't be a lemon, be a rosebud.
Don't be a lemon, Sara. Be a rosebud. It is it was terrible.
Rough. That was rough.
I have a horrible British accent. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is awful. I don't know how to improve it. And the worst part about it is it's my second favorite accent next to Irish. So if it's one of my favorites, I should know how to do it.
Those are my people that you're insulting.
I know. Well, my people too. All right. I'm giving them bad names. Well, you are like 100.
No, I'm like 37% British or something.
Oh, British. Oh, I thought it was like the Irish thing.
No, then I'm like 30-something% Scottish or something like that.
What is your favorite accent?
Yeah, I mean, I think just European. I think, like British,
region,
Scottish, British. Irish. No, I don't really care. I just like that they have accents. They just sound a lot more intelligent.
Irish and British are 1A, 1B for me. But yeah, you know what? I've been royal rambling here. All right. Before we get in there, gotta say hello to Bernard. Oh, Sara, you look lovely.
Thank you.
That was a little better. Just to let you guys know that I'll be writing why Bailey and Io should main event WrestleMania. Oh, when that happens, we'll share. That's what we do for the peeps. We'll share that. Everyone go check it out. And yes, Bernard, I figured it was night one. Everyone in Helen Keller knows that WrestleMania night 2 main event. So, Sara, I've been royal rambling here. You don't need to hear me talk for a little bit. we got to hear what is your favorite thing from wrestling this week.
I have two things.
Nice.
So, the first thing was it was announced today that WWE, is going to be going to Italy, and Austria around Bash in Berlin, and Imperium in full will be there. So I was very excited about that because there's been so many questions about Gunther and his status and his ability to be able to go overseas, because obviously he wasn't able to go to Saudi. He wasn't able to go to Australia. He hasn't been able to go to a number of other places because of visa issues, allegedly. So I thought it was really cool that he will be in Austria, which I'm like, oh my gosh, that's going to be so cool for him, and then really thinking about them going to Italy for my baby Gio. I'm very excited. So, I mean, we already know Kaiser would be in Germany, so it's like I'm excited for him, but it's not news. Like, we knew he'd be there. So,
we don't know what he's doing.
No, not yet. But I just thought that was really cool. And then the other thing that I was excited about was, of course, Cody always puts out his schedule for the month at the beginning of the month. And since today is the last day of February, we now know every single show that he is going to be on in March. And my God, it is the longest schedule that I think he has ever posted online since being back in WWE.
It was long. It was
long. But so other than the fact that he's going to do, I don't know, like every single house show or live event, I also really love that he is scheduled to be on every SmackDown that The Rock is scheduled to be there. So that is a good sign for me, because then we know it's almost a near guarantee that we are going to see interactions between Cody and Rock before Mania. My only negative is we don't know Roman's schedule. They haven't said anything yet, and they tend to make it a big deal when they confirm him for a show, and they haven't done that yet, but they did it with The Rock. Now Cody has done it about himself. So I'm excited that The Rock is going to be on 3 SmackDowns in March. I'm excited that Cody is going to be there. And I just really hope that we can have Roman on those shows as well, because I feel like it's so important to have Roman there to add more to this feud. I said it when we were talking about Raw that I really want to see more interactions between Cody and Roman this year. I don't want it to be Cody versus Paul Heyman again. I don't want it to be solely focused on Cody and The Rock, because even if they do end up having a match, which is rumored to happen at night 1, the bigger focus is him facing the undisputed champion. So we can't just put that on the back burner and act like that's secondary, because, oh my God, it's The Rock. He's going to be in a match. Oh my God. It's like, I really want to see more between Roman and Cody. Otherwise, I feel like it's just kind of taking all the steam out of their match. Like, you're excited about it because it's the second one and it feels like Cody's destined to win, but you want to have like added fuel to this rivalry. And so I hope that we get some sort of clarity on that at some point. But I guess
I have a feeling now that they're going to have Rock and Cody on the same shows, we're going to see a lot more clarity this year in the build-up. And I mean, you're not just going to have The Rock show up to SmackDown and not Cody. I mean, and not Roman Reigns. So I have a good inkling that Roman will also be there, doing as minimal work as possible. But he's there, goddammit. So
I mean, I hope so, and I would like to think, especially if they're I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter if he wins or if he loses at Mania, but I would like to think that if he does lose, that they would want him to be around as much as possible between now and Mania, because
milk the juices.
Yeah, so I just hope that we, like I said, that we get some clarity on that, whether I mean, they do it in an announcement the way that they have been, or he posted on Twitter or something. I don't know. I just am like, I'm sitting here waiting because that's how they've been doing it for like the last year.
Yeah.
So I expect that, but I guess we'll see. Also, I have a quick question. Does
What's
your
poppin'?
live timer say that we've been live for an hour and 10 minutes?
No, mine says 10:30.
Okay, mine says that we've been here for an hour and 10 minutes, so that's fine. I was just curious.
We can't control time, Sarah.
No, I was just
That's
curious. I'm
something
like,
we
why does
can
it say an
control.
hour?
Well, that's not my rosebud. You know what is my rosebud, though, Sarah? Because you're saying the best things that are going on in WWE. The best thing in my eyes right now that is going on in AEW
hmm
is how they are treating Sting's last match and the build up to it. Not only is, or proper grammar, not only are Nicholas and Matthew Jackson unbelievable in their, I would say, hyperbolic roles as the EVPs, really going all out with it and really, blurring the lines between behind the scenes and, the TV show. So the build up with that is incredible. And not only that, the moment of the night, and I think this is gonna go down as like one of the top moments of the year. Sting for the final time coming down from the rafters right behind the Young Bucks. And like it's a moment that you're going to remember, just like you remember, Tony Stark going, "I am Iron Man,"
Or
or
the first time that he did it.
the first. Well, yeah, like the first time, third time, and then you have the trying to think of other like big like other wrestling moments, but like a moment that is just historical, like and it's gonna I'm gonna be obviously ordering Revolution on Sunday when I get back from the wedding. So it's in the way that they've been treating him and the way he's been just wrestling and keeping up with these guys. I mean, he's doing bumps that no man his age should. It's incredible. And the fact that I got to see Sting for as long as I did, because when I was younger, I thought, oh, this is like where I'm getting Sting's like final couple years, like so
hmm
I know who Sting is and I know his like the whole gimmick and whatnot. That's cool. I appreciate that. But then the longevity he's had, not only in the spurt I watched in the infancy of Impact or TNA, but then when it evolved into Joker Sting and then goes into WWE and my whole he's coming to WWE at Survivor Series, no one believed me. Kind of felt like the boy who cried wolf, and then he finally appears. And then, you thought his last match was against Seth freaking Rollins. And then he goes back and has another resurgence in AEW. And say what you want about Tony Khan, because I have a few negative things to say too, but how he's been handling Sting's last run and in actually giving him the opportunity to go out on his own terms, it's really awesome to see that, especially nowadays.
I've got nothing.
I know. That's
Okay.
why we need to get you in AEW. We're gonna
I
get
mean, I
there.
saw the clip, so
I mean, the clip was. I mean, that's every wrestling fan
I
saw
mean,
the
it was
clip.
like, okay, I don't know. I just didn't have the same reaction, but that's just because like I wasn't watching religiously when Sting was around. So like I don't have this like deep connection to him. So for me it's like I've seen this clip before. This is just a different
Mhm.
setting. So that's just my reaction. Like I don't mean that he's not a legend or anything, but I don't have like that fandom of Sting in me. So, you know.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's turned into a little bit of more of a fandom too because I was once suspended from work down at school,
Mhm.
and I was supposed to work a game the night that I was, or day I was suspended, whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
And I showed up to the game. It was a basketball game. I forget if it was men's or women's. And I sat in
Oh
the
yeah.
farthest possible bleacher, whatnot, in all black, like hat to sweatpants to sneakers, like all black. And like I obviously the white because it was a backwards like MLB hat. So you had the white there a little bit. Like it was one of my favorite moments. And everyone, like even the guy who suspended me, him and my buddy were dying laughing at the fact that I did it because they're like, this dude's just incredible. And like that Sting, that Sting to a T. Like, it's incredible. Do you want to get to comments before Lemons?
If you
Because I mean,
want to.
we have time, so let's it could spur a video, it could spur something. David Valentin, keep an eye on it, and
Valentine.
oh, Valentine, sorry. Oh, there's an E, makes sense.
Mhm.
Keep an eye on the NWA Rebirth of the NWA. They're quietly rebuilding themselves with multiple territories under their banner. I've been getting some NWA videos popped up in my algorithm on YouTube. Like, I watched Sky Blue, her mini run in NWA.
Mhm.
So, and I mean, you can't knock it, because without NWA, like this Loki rebirth of it, we wouldn't have LA Knight. We wouldn't have Ricky
Mhm.
Starks, it's Sky Blue for whatever. So I'm for it. I think it's a great product, but I mean, one, there's only so much time in a day, and two, it's not really as easily accessible to even me, who has basically every streaming service that you can have. And I'm just like, if it's on you, one of those, I'm not gonna, unless someone shows me where to find it. Um, what do you think?
I've wanted to watch some of it, like older stuff anyway. Like I'm interested to see like Nick Aldis's run. Like I'd like to see
Mhm.
that because that's his more recent stuff. So I'd be curious just because we've talked about how we would love to see him in the ring again, to step away from the general manager role and maybe take on the role of a wrestler again, whether it's full time or just special events or something like that. So I'd like to look at that. And I mean, obviously there's those clips you see from LA Knight, like Shoes of a Champion. Like
Shoes of a champion.
I would love to watch some of his stuff too, because I don't know, you can kind of get hints of what you think he might do eventually in WWE, because he's bringing some of that stuff back, or some stuff that he did in TNA as well. So yeah, I think I just need to prioritize my time. It's just one of those things where, like you said, it's like I have a remote job and I'm on my computer all the time, and I'm having to like look at videos and tweets and news updates. And
Mhm.
so then when I have time off, it's like I don't want to be on my computer.
Yeah,
So it's like a weird balance where I have to just be like, okay, no, like if I'm going to watch something like the NWA, I need to remind myself it's for pleasure and not for work. And then
yeah,
sometimes it's like I just want to have everything away from me that reminds me of
yeah.
work. And so it's just a weird adjustment that I have to get going. But
It's a weird adjustment. I've tried to, teach myself a little bit of that, uh,
mhm.
with luckily my job being outside, but sometimes you can be way too outside, and you need to, like, all right, I need to rein it in and get back to what I personally love, because yeah, this
Yeah.
seems like work that we do when we come in here, but like to me, it's not. I could do this in here, I could do it out there with the peeps, I could do it in front of like anybody. So
Mhm.
it's pleasure, but it's about finding that time to have it. And like, listen, I would love to sit there and watch old NWA, TNA. I mean, I wanted to go back and watch not like crazy old stuff, but old enough, like Ring of Honor would be a good example of
Mhm.
like Kevin Owens, Kevin Steen, and El Generico. Because yeah, Sammy and KO as best friends now in WWE and that, but it started there.
Yeah.
It began. The genesis was in those ROH days, and I mean Dalton Castle too. To go on another sidebar, I'm obsessed with his character now, and apparently he was like a Ring of Honor champion, and I would not expect that from him. So I'm like, why? Why?
Mhm.
So it's all about timing, and that's just wrestling. For instance, I have Patriots. No, we have Patriots stuff too, and we cover that, and other stuff. So it's all about time and time management, and it's very key. So good question, Valentine. Uh oh yeah, Micah did ask this. Where is it? Oh hell, hold on. Sarah, I wanted to run this by you in Pits. Okay, what's poppin'? I'm hearing rumors that the idea of them doing a six-man ladder match for the IC title night 1 and winner faces Gunther night 2. and the participants would be Andrade, Dominic, Sammy, Gunther.
But why would Gunther be in
Why
the
would
match?
Gunther be white? That makes no sense.
So they would have to. He would have to be replaced by somebody. Or you can do 5. I don't see a problem with it being 5. I mean, we kind of talked about this too, and I think it's a rumor that has been started online because like there were people who are passing around a fake sheet of the WrestleMania matches leaked, and it's like no, it's not real. Like,
Yeah, on a
but people were
2009 Word doc.
and people were just trying to pass it off. I don't see that this couldn't happen. I would assume Gunther's not in the match, but I'm just not sure that they would put Gunther on night 2 just because it's like it depends if they do have like Cody versus The Rock on night 1, or if they did a tag match and Seth's in the tag match with Cody or something. Like they can't have every single men's title defended on night 2. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is something we just saw on a Raw. Like they could do a gauntlet or a tournament to become whoever the number 1 contender is. That could happen, and I think that's fine. I mean, I'm sure I won't be happy about it, but
yeah, you'll be all right.
yeah.
I want to bring this up because you're bringing up MLW. MLW is trying to come up big in the wrestling business. They're trying to get good TV contract. My good pal, sweet victorious one BRG is over there in MLW. Him and Love Dog had an unbelievable feud. And it's pretty good. I mean, that's where Jacob Fatu is. Matt Riddle was there a little bit. I don't know if he's there full time. I know he's your favorite, Sarah. But yeah, like it's pretty good. I watched like an hour of some show. I forget what it was, but I was very impressed. I would definitely tune in. That's the other thing. Like, where's MLW in their weekly shows? If it's just YouTube, then I'll just subscribe. And it'll come up, boom, you watch, here you go. But like if it's on, Cox Plus or something, or like I don't know why that was the first one that popped in my head, or like Xeon streaming platform. Like I don't know what that is. Then you gotta show me. That's the issue. You gotta bring it to the champ. All right. That's kind of a lemon. You know what? That's the tease to my lemon, whatever. Sarah, what is your lemon of the week?
I just had it and now I can't remember.
Backtrack those steps. Backtrack those steps. You got it.
I don't know. I mean, the things that I didn't like, we kind of already talked about. And I think the main thing that I didn't like this week is that we don't really know what's going to happen with Gunther. There's no real clear direction yet. Obviously, that's just this week, though. We'll probably know next week what's going to happen. So that's why it's like, yeah, it was kind of a lemon, but it will be lemonade probably in a week. So it's like, I don't know that I can really complain about that,
No.
But yeah, I don't remember if there was something else that I had. I don't remember, unfortunately. But maybe that's good. Maybe I don't have a lot to complain about.
That's nice. We like to hear that. We like to hear that. I'm trying to think of my lemon. Because everything's like, it's not that it's my like least favorite or I hated it. I could say like the BCC and FTR, like that's cool, but like whatever. Oh, I will mention this actually. I will bring this up. The Meat Madness that was supposed to happen.
Oh, I saw that they just like remade the match and just like
it's an all-star scramble.
Yeah, but isn't it all of the people who are supposed to be in that match are now in this new match?
Exactly.
So it's like, what's going on here?
So apparently it seems like from the AEW call today, because John Alba, my dude, was tweeting it and then obviously went down the rabbit hole. And I saw tweets about what he said about it, and that it was supposed to have Miro and Keith Lee and others, but like they're injured or couldn't be there. So I feel like he pivoted and was like, let's just do something else and save Meat Madness for another time when we can do it properly. And the big thing that I'm seeing, and I love the hate. I love that I fell into this part of the wrestling internet wrestling community. The Everyone thinks that Chris Jericho it was just a match to get Chris Jericho on the card. And I love that. If we're just going with that, I love it.
Have they been keeping him off TV?
No, he fought last night. He fought at
Okay, I was
Lantis
gonna
Jr.
say, I mean, like, I'm like, he wasn't he on the night that, like, the day after, like, all these things came out about him. So
Yep.
it's not like
He
they
was.
clearly don't give a. I mean, Tony basically said that anyway. But he's protecting himself, of course, because whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know that Jericho's at a later stage in his career, but do they really need an excuse to put him in a match? Like, I kind of feel like it's Chris Jericho. Like, you're not gonna really,
Oh, I
you know.
don't believe it. I
Yeah.
just love seeing it. I love the Chris Jericho hate because it's such a specific one. Yeah, I know. I will always hear it from you. I don't mind. Like, it's so funny because it's not that I love Chris Jericho. I just real recognize real when it comes to the business, but he is such a dick. Like, he's just a dick, and anytime someone is just hating on a dick, it's just like it's kind of funny.
Yeah, well, because the hatred for him goes beyond like his run in AEW. It's just he's just been getting exposed a lot more since going to AEW. So
I hate his bot. Like, the thing that really was like, all right, dude, get off your high horse, was the comment he made on some show about how he hates the word botch.
oh yeah, he's said that for years though. He hates people using wrestling terms in general. He's one of those that's like, don't say botch, don't say kayfabe, babyface, heel, like don't say it. Like, he's basically gatekeeping. Like, the only ones who can say it are the ones who actually perform wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, but this is the thing that I understand that argument to a certain extent, because you don't want to come off like you have inside knowledge or that you're really experienced in something when you're not. You're just a viewer, you're a fan. But at the same time, I think that people like him that have this issue with people using these terms, they would take issue with someone talking about the sport and not using those terms. You know what I mean? Like, if we were just saying, "Oh, they're a good guy, they're a bad guy. Oh, they messed up," or like this and that, like they would take an issue with that. Just like anybody would take an issue with someone talking about a football game and not talking about certain things that players do in a football game, because then you don't look knowledgeable, you don't look like you know what you're talking about. And so I think it's just kind of like, I'm sure it's somewhat of an old school mentality, but I also think it is a superiority complex. Like, you can't talk
1,000%.
about what I do, like you know what I do. It's like,
Yeah.
calm down, old man. It's not that
Yeah.
serious. Like,
No, it's not. It's not that serious. And it's a great comparison with the football and just sports in general, is that you learn the jargon to know what you're talking about and know the sport, know what it is, so that it's a respect thing at the end of the day.
mhm.
Because if you came in and started just saying a whole lot of gibberish, then you're gonna come off like an asshole and disrespectful.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
think that
it's
the
ridiculous.
thing is like with the botched thing, it's like he was getting so worked up over people saying a botch when it's like mess ups happen.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
live
that's
TV.
what a botch is. But that's just like the term that people use in wrestling. They say it's a botch. Like, and sometimes it is. I feel like maybe there's a little bit more put into the word botch than like an accident, because it's like, yeah, sometimes a botch, it's like, oh god, that was really bad, you know, like they were trying to do something and they didn't execute it. It's like that's worse than I think of just, oh, it was a mess up, you know what I mean? Like there is a difference there, but I don't really understand the whole gatekeeping aspect of like terminology. Like,
Yeah, I don't
no
get
one's
that
gonna
either.
call a quarterback the guy that throws the ball. You know, oh,
Yeah.
that's the guy that throws the ball, instead of calling him a quarterback. Like,
Because
come
then you
on.
look like a pink hat.
Yeah,
Like,
you just like, you look silly.
it's
So
ridiculous.
yeah.
I love Botchamania. It was one of my favorite. It still is one of my favorite things to watch. And when that clip comes up, when I'm watching it, like it's so funny. Into like you look at a guy like Jericho who would probably think of that as like, oh, it's so insulting to what we do and whatnot. But like, it's everyone messes up.
I would just
So
say to
it's
him, who hurt you? That's what I would
yeah,
say. Are you mad because people still talk about you slipping and falling on your ass against CM Punk when you were pouring alcohol in him? Is that what
yeah.
makes you mad still? Like, it's just like, because to me, I just respect like some of the older school wrestlers. Like, everyone knows, obviously, like I prefer to listen to Scott Hall talk about wrestling. If he talks to people and they use that terminology, or he uses that terminology, then I feel like I can. And not once did I ever hear Scott Hall talking about, no, bitch, you can't use that. You can't use those words. Like, come on now. Like, you're an idiot. Like, just
Mhm.
stop.
Yeah, just cut it out.
Yeah.
Just cut it out. Yeah, I hate that. I'm not. I did like Jericho in this AEW run. I'm just like, dude, hang it up. Don't make me put you in the Hulk Hogan category.
Well, I told you he's like an egomaniac. Why do you think that you have a whole faction dedicated to glorifying you?
The Jericho Appreciation Society.
That's a
That was pretty
joke.
good though. It was kind of funny.
But the
I'm
thing
not
is,
gonna
it's
lie.
like very on brand. Like, that's so him in real life. Like, he wants you.
All those guys would be henchmen.
Yeah,
They're all henchmen, and then
he
Danny Garcia
wants
would be that guy to rise up. It
he
all
wants
made
them
sense.
to kiss his ass and whatever. That's what it is. So,
It brought us Daddy Magic, okay?
all right.
Do you want to know? Well, me, I can't. You know what? I'll say it for you. You want to know
No,
what? Sorry, it's so good.
I don't want to know. So,
Huh? Okay.
thanks. Thanks,
Moving
but no thanks.
on. Yeah, what is going on? That's a great question, Banner. Because there's a lot going on in wrestling, and you know, in this Mania, we got Sting's last match in Revolution on Sunday. The Rock is finally coming home to SmackDown, his show technically. So there's a lot going on, Sarah, and I feel like we need to discuss some things about it, and we need to just let our thoughts out. Uh, I'll start with this one because it was kind of already teased a little bit with the ladder match. That it seems like this year there's a lot of potential for multi-man matches, team matches, whatever the case may be, and usually I'm against it. It's like, all right, you're overusing, you're watering down the product in a way. But if you're gonna make this the biggest WrestleMania ever, and with the talent that you have on the roster, especially talent that it's not that they're not being used because they're not good, there's not enough space. And WrestleMania is 2 nights to begin with. There's a lot of ambiguity with a lot of titles and things heading into the new season of WWE. I'm kind of for it and going all in on the WrestleMania 2000 mentality and just having as many people on the card as possible.
My guess is 3. I'm thinking there's going to be 3.
That's not bad. I could see that.
I'm thinking there's going to be a multi-women match for the women's tag titles. I think there'll be another one for the men's. And then I also think I'm leaning towards Logan Paul US title having a multi-man match. I think we're going to see a multi-man US title match and not an intercontinental title match. So
That would
that's
be
my
multi.
guess. And I feel like it fits the vibe for all of them because I feel like the women's tag match would be fine because they don't really focus on the women's tag titles as it is. So it's not like, oh, there's a clear number one contender here. And I feel like this gets, like you said, as many of the women on the card as possible. So that would allow Kaden and Katana, that would allow Indy and Candice, it would allow a bunch of other girls to be on the card. And they could put on a great match. And the same thing with the men. There's really no front runner for the men's tag titles. So why not put a bunch of these guys out? Because then you could have the Street Profits, you could have the New Cash Republic, you could have whoever in there with Judgment Day. So and you know, then with the US title, we'll get more clarity, of course, through SmackDown, but based off of Elimination Chamber, they were hinting at Logan going with against Randy, against Kevin, against LA Knight, like it could be AJ Styles for all we know. So it feels like that would be a pretty sick match. Like that's a lot of guys that could be in a match, and then you're making sure that they're on the card and in a match that you know is going to be good, because sometimes multi people matches are not very good because there's too many or something. It's just like can be a giant mess. But I mean, this would be like Elimination Chamber point to like 2.0 basically, you know, so I could see that
1,000%.
happening.
And it only can happen really because there's so much potential on this roster. And not only that, it's the person who's in charge. Like
Mm,
Triple H running the show now, and the feel that it's already had, or the feel it already has, with the speed of it. It doesn't feel like it drags. 3 hours feels like, "Holy shit, it's
yeah.
been 2 hours? Oh my god, we've gone through so much, but what about this?" Like, your mind starts to race, and that was, I would say, the biggest complaint in the old regime, where it just felt like it was dragged on, and it was a lot of storylines going like this.
Imagine how much money I spent on going to Raw during that era. Just
Yeah,
like it was rough.
I know. 2009 to 2011 was pretty bad, and that was my
Yeah.
hiatus, so
That was when I was going. 2010 to
oh,
2013, that was when I was going to a ton of shows.
that was
So,
when it was getting better.
a little, but
2012, I would say it spiked back up again,
yeah. Well, that's because
'cause
like the summer of punk. So, but I would
it's
say
CM Punk
too,
Save Wrestling. That
yeah.
is
I would say also about the US title match is I think that would be a great way to heighten the value of the match of the title. And I think especially having it be showcased in that way, because it could be a 5 or 6 man ladder match for the US title. That feels a lot bigger. And especially if you were to compare it to just maybe a singles match for the Intercontinental, you don't need to make the Intercontinental Championship a big show. It doesn't need to be, because the value there is because
mhm.
of what Gunther has done. The US title is not the same. So it feels like it does deserve a grander showing at WrestleMania. And I feel like having those guys in the match and then also maybe adding it be a ladder match or something like that makes it even more exciting, because then all of these guys are fighting to be US champion. Like that would be a big
That
deal.
means something,
Yeah.
and this thought from what you said just sparked in my mind. What if they do the gauntlet match for the IC title, whoever wins wins, but whoever loses, maybe they want their Mania moment, and
Mm,
they go over and try to fight for the US title,
yeah, maybe.
and then that could lead to a shakeup for after Mania. Like, there's a lot of different things you can do there,
Mhm.
because there's a lot of openness,
Mhm. Well,
not a
and
lot of
because
dots connected.
as we've said, you have to take into account what Triple H is trying to do, and he is trying to not overpack each night because he wants every match to have proper time and to be able to do what they want to do without feeling rushed, while also not having fans sitting in an arena for 8 hours. So, as there's so many people that feel like they deserve to be on the card, and in a lot of ways, as we've said, unfortunately, it does have to come in the form of a multi person match. And I think that when you make it even like a title match, like I feel like that's at least a little bit more entertaining for the participants, but also for the fans, because it's actually for something, and it's not just, oh, we're just throwing these 5 tag teams against each other because it's going to be a fun match. And it's like, yeah, but they're not fighting for anything.
They're not, yeah.
So
then you're getting into TK booking.
Yeah, so it's like that would be fun, I guess, you know, like the men's match last year was okay, but it's like, but at the end of it, it's like, oh, okay, great match, you know, that's it. So yeah.
Let me see what we got here. Just touch on this quick.
Okay.
Tommy Tonga, son of Haku, rumored to be going to WWE.
Yes.
Just another person to add to the bloodline.
Possibly. Not necessarily.
That's why we got question marks.
Yeah. So there's reports on both, of course, because the immediate thing is you see he's Islander. He's not Samoan. I believe he's Tongan. So there is a little bit of a difference. However, so that was one thing that people said, you know, automatically bloodline, right? Especially given the timing, because he could show up at Mania for all we know. But then at the same time, I think that they were not necessarily him, but I believe his father was on the family tree that The Rock put up. And I also think that The Rock has referenced like his relationship with Toma's dad, and people were posting like he bought him a truck like a couple years ago, and so they do have a close relationship. So I would say it's not out of the realm of possibilities. So, I mean, you expected this, just like we said, like Jacob Fatu is probably going to show up at some point. And I would like to think that it's just going to play into the idea that we've talked about it being the Avengers, because
it's gonna be so awesome.
I want it to be like, you know, Samoan Dynasty versus like Team Cody Rhodes. You know what I mean? Like that would be fine. I don't want it to come in the form of what we've been seeing, you know, where what was it only a year ago that Solo came up, or was it 2 years ago? It was 2.
When did he fight Drew?
Oh yeah, a year and a half ago. Right. Yeah. So I don't want it to be like that again. Like I don't want to see like a bunch of masked, hooded, you know, Samoan guys just showing up in the middle. I
want the garb. I want the cultural. I want it all.
Well, not that. I'm saying I don't want their like debuts to be like, oh yeah, Roman had them chilling in a black hoodie to come and make sure Cody loses. Like that's the thing that I don't want to see. So I hope that if his plan or their plan for him is to be a part of the bloodline, that's not the way it happens. Or if it does, it is more of like this team versus this team, so that they're more equally matched. Then okay, yeah, this guy's gonna come in and do his finisher to Cody, and then Roman retains. Like I don't want to see that again. So
I thought this is a very interesting point, because
that's right.
He's
yes, I saw that he was. Oh my god, when people started saying that, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not familiar with him because I haven't watched a ton of.
All I know, he has one of the best. Yeah.
So I saw people talking about that, and that was why some people were freaking out, because they were like, oh my god, what if he comes back and reignites the OC? Which I still hate that it has to be the OC. I really wish it could have just been the club. I loved when it was just the club. I know that they can't use Bullet Club, but it's like, I wish that they could have just gone back to being the club, because I wanted to see that with Finn. I wanted to see like the legitimate, like, you know, them with Finn and AJ. Like I wanted to see that in WWE.
Wrestling fans wanted it. They wanted it.
I wouldn't be mad about that, because I also think that would be unexpected, because as I said, there was only a few people that were mentioning his connections to the Bullet Club. So most people were saying bloodline, obviously. So I feel like it would be kind of cool if they brought him back and he actually did go to NXT and kind of like swerved everybody, being like, oh, you thought I was going to go to the bloodline? You know, like that would be kind of fun.
A little secret, Sarah. I think he would be better off in NXT.
I think if you want to establish yourself as yourself, that's what I think you need, because like that was what Solo did. They very easily could have brought Solo to the main roster, given him another name. You know, he could have just been Josh Uso or whatever. One of their real names.
Yeah, like
One
just
of their real
randomly,
names
yeah.
is Josh. I can't remember, but they could have just named him another Uso. Said he was this is Josh Uso, and it was like no, he wanted to go to NXT. Hence, even his name, like Solo, because he wanted to be a person on his own. And I would say since joining the bloodline, he's kind of like faded into the distance because he's just like clumped into this group that he doesn't really have his own identity. And so I feel like if you were being introduced to a WWE audience for the first time, for the most part, nearly everybody, it would be beneficial for you to go to NXT and create your own character and your own identity, and then you can join the bloodline, because there are the rumors of the bloodline story is going to continue post Mania. We might see like Team Rock versus Team Roman. So if that's the case, then at least Tama could become a fixture in WWE on his own, and then we could see him join the bloodline at some point later down the road.
I love that idea. I love that idea. It's the people who know him as in the Bullet Club, they know ball. And you're right, Sarah, because
Okay, yeah.
Jay is Josh.
Yeah, I was like, I remember one of them is Josh. I just couldn't remember which one. He's not a Josh.
He doesn't seem like a Josh. I like that he's Jay.
Yeah, but Jay could be like, oh, you just call him Jay because his name is Josh. You could call him Jay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah.
I'll go down. I'll go down here. All right. I want to talk about this. Let's talk about it because I'm flip-flopping here. All right. I initially said and have been saying here on the show, check out the archives, that R-Truth should be the host of WrestleMania. It is the biggest fish in the barrel idea that you could possibly do. However, I'm so enthralled with his character right now to the point where it's not only just me, it's the entire wrestling and WWE universe that are obsessed with R-Truth. So with that being said, they want to see some gold on him. And usually I'd agree. I don't know. I'd be on the side of like, no, that's stupid. Like, that's how they're going to do the Judgment Day dirty and all that. But R-Truth is the hottest thing in WWE right now outside the bloodline Cody Rhodes. Like, let's be honest. He is.
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't go that far, but I know what you mean.
Yeah. And I think you give him the tag team titles. He is one person that can connect this nonsense bullshit way to split the titles. Like, he could find a way to split the titles where people just listen to whatever he said and be like, yeah, R-Truth said it. Yeah, so that's why we have the title split. And then no one questions it after because like, oh, well, R-Truth did this and like all that. I think like that's it. I think that's the move.
I feel like he could do both. I feel like he could be the host, and then there's probably already a tag title match in the works, and then he decides that him and Miz are going to be thrown into it. So, I think either is possible. I think that if he is in a tag team match for the titles, then I want it to for sure be multi-man. I don't want it to be Miz and Truth versus Judgment Day. Like, I don't want to see that. I'm not intrigued by him and Miz being tag champions, but I know I've seen it on Twitter. A lot of people want to see it. I'm not one of those people. So, and that's not even just because I'm a fan of Judgment Day. Like, if they're going to take the titles off Judgment Day, that's fine. But like, I don't want the people who become the new champions be the Awesome Truth. So, but yeah, I think they could do either situation for him, and it would be fine, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Oh no. I didn't click it. Okay. I think CM Punk or Big E host Mania. Okay.
I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't be surprised if it's both of them because they both were on the panel for that Vegas press conference. So I wouldn't be surprised. And that's why I said I think Punk is going to be at Mania. He's just not going to be wrestling. So that would be another way to get Punk at Mania and still allow him to be on screen or in the ring. It's in some capacity, and people get to see him. So I think with Big E, it just depends on what he wants to do, because I think if you bring Big E back in that type of role, then I feel like it needs to be like, okay, he's back, you know what I mean? Like whether it's in a full announcer role, or I guess if he decides to wrestle, I'm assuming he's not going to, which I don't blame him, but I would hate for it to be like a tease, you know, because we got a little bit of a tease at the press conference. So it's like, I would like to think that if he were to come back and be like a host of Mania, that means like, okay, he's going to be around now, because with Punk, you know, the only reason he's doing it is because he's injured, you know.
Yeah, I would love to see them two in some sort of role. I don't want to say host because I'm holding out my truth, holding out for my R-Truth, but I want to see them involved with Mania, and if they had, you know, if they're gonna be the host of it, I'm still here for it. I don't mind the idea.
You know what a great commentary team would be? Big E and Titus O'Neil.
Oh,
Imagine.
you know what? Let's screw the comments. Let's just go right here, because here's the thing, Sarah. You took the one person I was going to bring him up in this.
Oh, really?
I was going to bring up that, yes, obviously the answer is yes. I think both of us can agree. Yes. Absolutely. Big E should be on commentary. I don't care where they do it, but when you put him on the desk, I'm going to be listening. My next person that I was going to bring up, and I don't know what I am I think that's a little bit of craziness.
Today has been
the
weird.
KK, the little KK Coos and Connection. That Titus O'Neil also needs to be involved in commentary in some way, shape, or form.
He's hilarious.
He's so funny. And if you remember that he was on commentary for the tag match at Mania last year.
Yes.
And I remember I was watching it with Sword, literally to my left here. And he was like, who is this guy? And he was laughing. And this man, his first wrestling event that he ever saw and went to was the Boston Raw before Mania.
Mm-hmm.
And then he sees Mania. It was his second show, which what a 1-2.
Yeah.
What a 1-2. And he's just dying laughing at Titus O'Neil. He's like, oh, I love this dude. He should be on. It's like, bro, we need more people like that to be into it.
Yeah, I would enjoy either scenario. I think that it's just they're in a tough spot now because they just rearranged the teams. They're trying to go back to 2-man commentary teams. And I feel like both shows are pretty good with who they have. And I feel like adding Big E or Titus to Raw is kind of like, because you already have a less serious dude in Pat McAfee, you know? So adding another like less serious person like Big E or Titus might not work, and it depends on what direction they're trying to do on SmackDown. But regardless, I would be here for it because I think that Titus is doing other stuff because he's like their ambassador, like their world ambassador. So it's not like
great
so it's not like he's, you know, trying to find a place in the company. I think that with Big E, if he does decide that he doesn't want to risk any further injury or whatever could happen, then they need to do what they did with Corey Graves for Big E. Cause you just like, you can't like just let this dude do nothing. Like you need to have a role for him, and having him on TV every single week feels like that has to be what you do. Because if we also compare at the time of when they did that for Graves hadn't even been on the main roster, and they went bent over backwards to keep him around, and like, you know, because obviously it was devastating. But Big E is so beloved by the fans and by the wrestlers that it feels like, okay, you guys need to have that same reaction to him, because I mean, he could very easily go somewhere else and be a bigger than life personality, but you don't want to do that because he's homegrown. Like he's You
You
know,
can't. He wouldn't. Yeah, you can't take him away from the New Day and
no,
the New Day of like they are WWE lifers and all
yeah,
that. So and you need people like that in your company to keep the ship pushing.
yeah.
I couldn't agree more. Don't worry, Vin. You didn't miss anything because we're going long today. Because
Hmm.
your boy will not be in the state of Massachusetts. We'll be in the sister state of Maine. So we're jam packing it so we can get more videos in that archive. And speaking of the archives, you missed the show a little bit. Well, you can go back and watch what you missed. That's the beauty of YouTube. What do we got here? Sarah, 1, 2, or 3?
Wait, are we already skipping over everything else?
No, we're not skipping.
Oh,
Just pick a number. Just pick
2.
a number. 2. All right, there it is. Maxine Depri. We stand Maxine on this show. All right. The video came out this morning, I think it was.
No, it was like yesterday or the day before.
Have I really been
Yep.
that swamped with that?
Mhm.
I'm just
Mhm.
wow. That's what happens when you're pleasing the peeps in Boston. But anyways, that's it. Maxine Depri. It was a video that came out of her being booed as she walked back to the gorilla position by the fans at a house show, and it's got a lot of backlash online. You know, wrestlers, people in the wrestling industry, media have all been really sticking up for her and saying how hard she works and how she doesn't deserve this. And I couldn't agree more. This poor girl. I
Mm.
mean, I think that it's the wrestling brain where it's like, why are you gonna have someone this green and all that come in? But you have to realize that this was not her original plan. And the fact that she's pivoting so well, and not only so well, but with a positive attitude, that someone who was in her position could have said, F it, I'm going on to my next adventure. Because she's not she's not a wrestling fan. We didn't go like she was a dancer, you
Well,
know?
the thing that I especially take issue with is her whole story was it was happening while she was on screen. Like, so her being new to learning wrestling, we literally saw her in a story learning wrestling from Chad Gable. So it's not even like you have to be like, oh, well, I stay in tune with what is going on behind the scenes on wrestling Twitter that you need. That's how you know that she doesn't have a lot of training and that she's still learning. So to me, like, as a wrestling fan, this is not the opportunity to boo someone. There are opportunities to boo someone. Like, I mean, I'm not saying you should, but if you're at a house show and like the one where Jeff Hardy just was like F it and was like just like left mid-match, sure, boo the guy, because it was like, what the hell, you paid, and then this guy is just like, I don't want to be here, so he just like leaves mid-match or whatever happened. Like, sure, be mad at that person, right? But like, that Maxine was a valet, a manager. She was literally just doing a silly modeling gimmick and had no wrestling training. And at that point, I mean, I guess Vince's vision was to never have her be a wrestler. And then she decided, okay, well, they got rid of LA Knight, or Max, and made him back to LA Knight. Eventually, they got rid of the models. And then Maxine's like, okay, what am I going to do? I want to keep my job. I like it here, especially post Vince, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
And she decided, okay, well, the best way for me to keep my job and to keep doing what I want to do is to learn what everyone else is doing. And so it's like they're giving her matches way early. She probably shouldn't even be in matches on television yet.
Mm-hmm.
Just like anyone else in her position, they would not be on television yet. So I think that people are just being so harsh for no reason. And the people defending, because I think Meltzer was like defending the fans, being like, they're allowed to boo. And I'm like, you're allowed to boo, but in the appropriate situations. And this is not an appropriate situation to be booing a girl. And I don't think she's said anything I don't.
She hasn't.
But
She
the thing
hasn't.
is she doesn't have to because a bunch of her friends have said stuff.
Oh yeah,
So
no, they got her back.
yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So to me, that's a signal of she was upset about it. You know what I mean? Because other people are speaking for her, which doesn't necessarily reflect how she feels. But I do believe that it probably did upset her. And I don't blame her because that is ridiculous. Like we've talked about it, we talked about her match with Valhalla and we were talking about how it was rough. It was rough to watch, but you
That's
give
the
her a
truth.
pass because
Yeah.
it's like she isn't. It would be different if she was someone who had been in the business for 15 years and that was what she gave you. If she had been someone that you've been watching for 10 plus years and she performed the way Maxine did, boo her for sure because it's like, girl, what are you doing? That's like
You don't want to be here, but she
yeah, you don't
wants
want to
to
be here. You're trying to sandbag your opponent. You're trying to do something, right?
Yeah.
But like, that's not her. Like,
No.
she's not even been training for a year. Like, I just don't. It's just another thing I think where wrestling fans like. It's like just a complex with them. Like, it's like, I have to see matches in a certain way, or if I think you suck, I'm going to let you know. But it's like, it's not her character sucks. It's not that she's a terrible person. It's not that she didn't try to give you a good match. And those would be reasons to boo her. It's like, she's literally just, I don't know, a newbie and you're booing her for trying. Like, okay, that makes a lot of sense, guys.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I really enjoy Maxine, and it's stuff like that it's like someone that's trying to get into the business, enjoys it, and wasn't a fan of it, that wants to be a part of it. Like that's so cool, and to have the fans boo her and be the ones to be trying to boot her out, it's like it's not. I just
This I have to. He says, "Are the fans allowed to boo an NFL team if they're playing bad?" I am someone that I don't think that's okay, actually. Unless you think that they're like purposely not trying, I would never boo my team ever. I would never do that. Maybe that's an old school mentality, but I would never be in a stadium and boo my team. I wouldn't do it. So maybe you should ask someone else.
I never say never. That's just a rule
I
I
just
live
never
by.
would. I would be embarrassed.
I would. Oh no! If the Patriots, I've had times where I wanted to boo.
But this is the thing. Think
over
about the very last game of Tom Brady, right? The Titans game. They played like shit, and it looked like Tom wanted out. Like you could tell, like more than
He
ever
threw to
in
his
that game, he
teammates,
wanted out.
technically.
Would you boo Tom Brady?
I would not be booing the coaching staff. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
but
doing.
your boos, they don't. It's not like boo Coach Belichick and Coach this. Like you're not saying that. You're booing.
Yeah.
So that's what
but
I'm
I'm still
saying. Like,
booing.
would you boo?
That would be by
Okay, so you'd be booing Tom Brady. Okay,
he's de facto.
interesting.
That's what you got. It's factual.
I would never
You
boo Tom
suck.
Brady.
It's inspirational.
But see, that's just not how I am. I
No,
don't
he
roll that
wants
way.
it.
I'm not gonna boo somebody. Like I'm just not gonna do it. Like I'm not gonna
Brady's gonna
boo my.
fuel that fire. He's gonna want it. If you're booing him, he's gonna play better.
He literally left the team, dude, after that game. So no, he did not.
Yeah, but you're thinking too.
I'm thinking of Tom Brady's last game, as I said. He had checked out.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is where we're going off the rails a little bit here. Yes, Nathaniel, I think we should also drop Marvin Harris. Too hard on Maxine. She's too green. Everyone, yeah.
Appreciate the fact that she has the confidence
She's
and the
fine.
courage to even go on live television and show people what she's learned and knowing that she's not perfect. I feel like that's not getting enough credit because I couldn't do that. Like imagine being put in her position, right? Like she's getting put on television basically every single week, which is something that a lot of people in the back wish that they were getting. And they are someone who has 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times more experience than she does, and they're not getting on TV. So she's taking these opportunities that she's being given clearly because people like her and believe in her in the back, and that's why she's getting them. And instead of saying, I don't think I'm ready for this, I'm too scared, I'm too nervous, she's going out there and doing it anyway. And I feel like that deserves to be applauded, because I could not be in that position. There are instances where you think about like giving a presentation to school or something, and you could know everything like the back of your hand. But the second that you're supposed to go out there, you're like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. And that's not her. She knows how to do like 4 moves. You know what I mean? And she's still like, yeah, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to perform for however many thousands of people live in the audience and millions of people at home. Like, that is crazy. And people are just overlooking that aspect. And it's like, I think most of it is because of just like, she's a hot girl. And so people kind of want to like shit on her for that, I think, too. Because people don't respect women's wrestling either as much as like if it were a man in her position. I don't think we'd be here.
I think it would be.
I don't think he'd be. I don't think it's similar, but
I think he'd be booed.
Maybe, but I don't know. There's been plenty of guys that sucked, and people love James Ellsworth. He didn't get booed, so
that's because look at the dude. He was hilarious.
Well, still,
it's a cartoon character come to life. That's why I liked him.
Yeah,
I didn't like him because he could wrestle. He was just a character on my screen every week.
Oh,
Matt Riddle loves skiing.
Yeah.
Sara, he loves hitting the slopes.
Oh, jeez.
So much so that WWE was like, hey, we need to take away your ski pass and suspend you. Okay. So what do we I'm gonna let you go off on this because this is
I don't bother to watch these interviews. Like, somewhat of me is curious about what he's saying, but then when I saw like other snippets from his latest interview, it's just full of lies. Like, I was supposed to win the Royal Rumble. No, you weren't. I was supposed to make $1 million from WWE in 2024. No, you weren't. Like, just stop lying about these stupid things. And then what's funny is then he comes out and he says, oh yeah, I got caught. Like, I got busted twice on tests for snow, not weed. And it's like, and like,
yeah, we're not surprised at all.
Who's breaking news? Because you're like 6 months too late, brother. Like, we all knew. Everybody
on your own
knew.
News.
Everybody knew. There are so many clips that people were showing that it was like he is high as fuck in that. Like, you knew that it wasn't the green, it wasn't the leaves. You weren't smoking the earth. We knew that. I just thought it was funny that he like made sure to like address it and like put this out there, like as if like, oh God, I no one knows, but I'm just gonna spill the tea. It's like, no, we knew. I just thought that was funny. It's like, and no one cares. Like, he's just so irrelevant. I think just reminds me of like someone just trying to like live in the past and just be like, well, this is how much they believed in me and this is how many people liked me and I was supposed to do all this. And it's like, okay, sure.
It's
like
insane that he's the NW New Japan TV champion.
I think at this point it's not even like because people like him that much or he's like this big star. I think it's because it gives them traffic, it gives them viewers, it gives them clicks, because his name is now so infamous. It's like the guy who was doing snow in WWE and went to rehab and like caused a lot of problems. You know what I mean? It's like he was gonna have an OnlyFans. Like, he's having a baby with a corn star. It's like there's just so much controversy surrounding him that some people are willing to be like, okay, well, he's pretty good in the ring and people are still intrigued by him for whatever reason. So at least he'll give us more eyes on the product. That's kind of what I feel like it is.
I bring it up because it's newsworthy, sort of.
And
I just am not surprised. The only thing I would like to add to this, because he is going on the interview tour, is that one thing he did mention was that things with Triple H running it are a lot more organized than Vince. And that's someone who has literally nothing to lose and will just say like what's on his mind. And if he experienced it and he's the only one that would say it, it's just more reassuring than someone like breaking news. Like if Matt Riddle's out like here saying, it's like, all right, there's some truth to that.
I think that I don't know. I don't believe most of what he says because of just how many times he's been caught lying. So, I mean, he lied about an incident at an airport. He lied about, stuff that his ex-wife had said. Like he's lied about cheating on his wife. Like he's just lied about so many things. And I think that he's like a ticking time bomb. Like he's just someone who just like has verbal diarrhea. Like it's just like, stop. Like this is why they had to release you, because it's like you won't stop. Like he's too controversial for a company that wants to try and save face. And it's good that they released him before all these details with Vince came out, because there's all of those allegations, I would say, about Riddle would come back to haunt them. So
let me go here to the next. Oh, look who it is, Mr. Anderson. Ooh, that's a lot. All right. Anderson. I'll keep it quick because we did talk about it. It seems like you got here late, but we will obviously answer your question because of the generous dono.
thank you.
It's going to be US.
I think so.
Intercontinental needs to be the one-on-one type of match. It has a prestige, and the multi-man, it gives it that, want and desire for them to be champion, not just to hold a belt.
Did you say Intercontinental? What'd you say?
No, US.
Oh, okay.
US.
I also think when you put into comparison of like who would be in the US title match versus who would be in the IC title match, the people in the US title match are the ones that need to be on the card more than the ones that are going for the US or Intercontinental. Like, does Sami Zayn need to be on there? Yeah, but like, would it be okay if we didn't have Andrade or Chad Gable or Bronson Reed? Like, as much as like, they're talented and great, it's like, if they missed a Mania, would it be devastating? No. But like Randy Orton not being on the card, LA Knight, AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, like no. Those are guys that need to be in a match at Mania, and the easiest way to do that is based on what you were already teasing at Elimination Chamber and just move it to Mania.
And Richard agrees for $2.
Yes. Woohoo! Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go, and that's a great way for Logan too. That's why I feel like and adding more stakes to a Logan Paul match, like putting it in a ladder match or something. Hello, you're gonna get a banger after banger after banger. So
exactly.
I love this. Matt Riddle loves skiing.
It's one of my more clever. All right, we talked about that. Well, what's going on with Theory? There's a lot of the news. I'll let you. Yeah.
I just feel so validated because I've been saying this. You've been saying this. It was just Eric Bischoff talking on his podcast that if it were up to him, he would be taking Theory off TV, not to punish him, but for the betterment of his career, saying that he thinks that he should be off TV for a month or a couple months or for however long they can actually figure out something, a direction for him and a character for him. And I have been saying this for months. We've been saying this for months. We've been saying this forever, that they should be doing this because he's way too talented for them to just be like having him jump from tag team partner to tag team partner, or just like having him do these silly spots, which is great. Obviously, he's a part of, that viral video with The Rock. Like, then he had that moment with Cody and whatever, and Seth. So it's like, yeah, that's cool. But like, that's not, I mean, Heath Slater had a bunch of moments like that. And it's like,
oh my God.
You know what I mean? So it's like, to me, that's just kind of, Theory is not Heath Slater. So I agree. I think they should take him off, and I think they should repackage him as a babyface. Like, I mean, you could even, if they're going to keep going with potentially bringing back The Way, then move him to Raw. Like, it's an easy way for you to transition him into being a babyface. I feel like it's just the way to go, because I think that he is someone who would be really good as a babyface. We already saw, his moments as a babyface in NXT, and sometimes I think the direction that they want a guy to be is just not natural for them. That they almost have to perfect the other side before they can go to whatever the opposite of that is, and I think that Theory feels like he could be a great top guy as a babyface, but he's just not being given that opportunity yet. And they've tried to make him into like a hateable bad guy, and it's just not working. So
It's
make him
not.
the guy that we all want to love, you know?
I echo everything you said. I've kind of been taken away because we got another $5 dono.
Oh my goodness.
Vinny wants to know what our thoughts on Microman in MLW is. So here's the thing, Vinny. We're gonna have to take. I'm gonna do a favor. All right,
Okay.
I'm gonna look up Microman right now. I could also ask. That's actually a good note for me to ask my dude about Micro.
Well, I'll answer a question in the meantime.
Right.
Darian says they should have had a direction for him after he beat John Cena at
my
WrestleMania, but they didn't know what to do with him after that. That's what we've been saying. It feels like a waste. It's kind of similar to what we were saying about Solo Sikoa, that they had him potentially, I'm assuming it's not going to be, but potentially have the last match with John Cena, and then they did nothing with him after he beat John Cena. So one, doesn't feel significant, and two, is like, okay, well, most people aren't even going to remember because like you're doing nothing with him. And so I think the same thing happened to Theory, and it's unfortunate because Theory is young and obviously really good in the ring and can be around for a very long time. But I think they're just trying really too hard to make him something that he's not necessarily natural at, and they also just don't know what to do with him, it feels like. So
So cool. This dude's electric. This dude is electric. If you can guess right now how tall he is.
I already saw you said he's 4'3".
No.
Oh, 5'3"?
No.
3'3"? Oh, cool.
Micro.
Well, 4'3" would be small too,
That apparently that's not micro enough.
I guess.
Holy shit. Look at this guy, and he wears a cape. He's adorable.
Okay, don't say that. He's still a grown man.
He's awesome. Oh
Can't
my
use
God.
that. You can't call him adorable when he's a grown man.
I love him. He's
Well,
amazing.
but still, would you want to be called adorable?
In the right term?
No, you're
right
calling him
tone.
adorable because he's small.
I get called adorable.
All right, whatever.
I also hang around a lot of old senior citizens, so that might just be their vernacular. So who knows? Who knows what the case may be? Yeah, that's I really don't have any much to say about Theory, because I echo everything you said. It makes so much sense. I don't know. I don't know why they haven't done it already, except for the fact maybe they're just waiting for after Mania.
That's what we
Grayson
said.
Waller.
I mean, we've been saying that for so long. We've been
So
coming
how
up with
long?
yeah, it's like we've been coming up with so many excuses.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it already. Cody, Seth, and The Rock announced for the next 3 SmackDowns. Sarah, this is big news, especially leading up to Mania.
Yes.
It finally feels like we're going to get a proper build-up to WrestleMania, as opposed to last year where it felt like Cody Rhodes was basically just on a Zoom call.
Yeah, I didn't realize that this was a banner, so it's like I already basically gave my thoughts on this. I just wish that we knew with certainty that Roman would also be there, because it's pretty pathetic, in my opinion, that The Rock could potentially be on more SmackDowns and our champion. It's pathetic to me that Cody and Seth, who already work Raw and do nearly every house show, could also be on SmackDown more than Roman Reigns. Like, if there was any indication of needing to get the title off of Roman Reigns, this is another example. Okay, because it's just like, bro, like, you would think you would want to show up for WrestleMania, like, because that's the thing. If that will piss me off even more, if he's like not showing up, and yet they keep the title on him. Can you imagine? Holy moly.
That would, I think, actually insinuate riots.
I would be, if I were Cody, I'd be like, what the fuck, dude? You know, like, obviously he's gonna know more than us, but like, how much more could somebody do to be your top guy to be rewarded by being champion. Like, I don't understand. But
I don't either. I just don't. I'm trying to think if you want to do some comments here. Main roster not being used. It should go back to. Oh, you know what? We'll replace because we already kind of talked about that banner, so we'll pivot over to. Are there any main superstars on the main roster that are not being used well and should go back to NXT like Good Brothers and Baron Corbin?
Austin Theory could be a good one.
No,
I
I
think
like
you
your
could-
way. I like
Well-
your way theory
But what
better.
I'm saying is you could take him off TV and then have him even come back up through NXT if you don't want him to be in a faction, because they might have
Sure.
a different direction with DIY. So
It's true, and the way might just be now Candace and Indy, and okay, that makes sense. I'm really trying to rack my brain. LWO, if they haven't been
Yeah.
really assigned already.
mhm.
But even then, I do like their feud right now with Santos on SmackDown. So I don't want to
I
say a
don't-
full send, but maybe just do both.
I feel like there really aren't any. I mean, I don't think it would be a bad idea for Maxine, because then it's like she would be able to completely focus on training, and then also learn from the other girls. So it's like, I don't think that would be a bad idea, because then she would legitimize herself too in front of a
Mhm.
crowd that understands that these are people who are training. Like, they're not going to boo her. You know what I mean? I don't think that's a bad idea, because she's also going to need to eventually get away from Alpha Academy anyway. So I don't think that's a
that's
bad
true.
idea.
I really can't think. I really am trying to rack my brain here, but I do like everyone on the main roster right now, where I'd rather see them on certain shows rather than in NXT. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for them to do that. Well, those three were announced for SmackDown, and this man was announced for Raw April 1st edition, right before WrestleMania. CM Punk announced for an appearance at Raw, and this also goes with the comment from earlier about CM Punk potentially being the WrestleMania host. I feel like this would be like the announcement. Like, who's the WrestleMania host? Like, is it this guy? R-Truth saying like, no, or maybe R-Truth thinks he is. Maybe he wins and he thinks he is, but CM Punk is like, no, Truth, I am.
I honestly just want to be surprised if it's just like the way for Punk to be like, I have an announcement, and he just comes out on Raw to be like, I'm gonna be the Mania host. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's gonna be that serious or anything. Like, I don't know. I would assume. I mean, but they also have to be careful because it's April Fool's Day, so you don't want to.
Oh my god, imagine, and it's a via satellite. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, the via satellite would be incredible. That would be a hell of an April Fool's joke on the crowd. But
Yeah.
I don't think we're mentally there yet as wrestling fans to be PTSD back to via satellite days. I don't think we need that. I did like this. AJ Styles went on some radio show, I think today or yesterday or whatnot, saying that he wants to have one more WWE title run before he calls it quits. I 1,000% believe that he should. He's the phenomenal one. I mean, it's actually a fact. He's wrestled more matches in WWE than TNA. So by numbers standard, he's more of a WWE guy than TNA guy. So
That's crazy.
That's a wild fact I never thought I would say out loud. And with that, he's got to have a Hall of Fame run, or he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. So why not add to that Hall of Fame legacy by giving him another title run? And maybe that title run, it's with the OC. Maybe they solve their issues. Maybe Finn Balor leaves the Judgment Day. That's more of the crazy shenanigans scenario. But still, there's a lot of avenues that it could be possible in this new age. And I don't hate it. I hate none of it. So
yeah, I don't hate it either. I almost would like to see him on Raw for that, like him be world heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
Especially if Cody wins at Mania, you know that that's not going to happen. Like, he could feud with Cody, but he's not going to take the title off him more than likely. So, I think World Heavyweight would be pretty cool, and I think that they'll make it happen anyway, because it feels like they kind of try to do that when there are guys at that point of their career, and he's so. I mean, it's AJ Styles. Like, of course, you're gonna give him at least one more title run, especially because it's been how many years at this point? Like, similar to like Kevin
18.
Owens. Kevin Owens hasn't been a champion or the WWE champion for a while. So, yeah, I would be all for it. And I mean, look at him. Look at him now. He's like more jacked than he's ever been. Like,
Oh my God, he's
hello.
unbelievable.
Like, yeah, he's got the look. He's still performing like no other. Like, yeah, give it to him. And it would be sick to have the OC do it. Like, they could probably become what I wanted Judgment Day to be. Like, more of just like an absolute like menace of group of men. Like, oh man, I'd be so excited.
I can picture him being like an APA type style where they just are more loudmouths, but who kick ass. Like,
I just want them to be menaces. Like, just beat everybody up. Just like I don't know. I just want them to be badass dudes. Like,
kick ass and leave.
Yeah.
All right. What do we got here? Do we want Broken Dreams back?
Yes.
I want it back so bad.
I need it at WrestleMania. I understand because he said, he's it's teased again. I feel like we talked about this last year, because he used it at Clash at the Castle. But I feel like we need it. I would love to be at WrestleMania and be able to sing the words along with everybody else. And awesome. I would love for that to be the song if it is a match where he wins. Like, if he's going to beat Seth Rollins, like, that would be pretty sick for that to be the song. And it's funny because he said too, like, this wasn't a song that anyone really cared about when he was in that era as Drew McIntyre. And so it's like, absence makes the heart grow fonder or something, it's like everyone just became obsessed with it once he was gone. So yeah, I want it to stop being teased, but I wouldn't be mad if he used it kind of like what Finn Balor did with Demon Finn. It's like he took it out of his arsenal at appropriate times. I wouldn't be mad about Drew doing that with Broken Dreams because I do like his current theme. Like, it's pretty cool. And so I wouldn't want to see that go away completely. But it would be pretty cool if, like, in certain instances, he took out Broken Dreams, and I feel like it would make it feel more special because I think if we heard it every week, people might start not caring as much.
They wouldn't. No, yeah. I would agree with that. I'll get rid of that. And then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. This was without a doubt. I did not make it my rosebud, obviously, because I want to talk about it here. Because this was the biggest 12-6 I've ever seen get thrown at me and have zero idea. We mentioned Okada before this man, joking or not. This was the last person I thought would be the man behind the haikus.
Yeah.
Haikus. It was Sean Spears. And if you're like, who's Sean Spears? The AEW guy? Well, you also might remember him as being the perfect 10. Ty Dillinger returns, debuts, whatever you want to call it. He's back in WWE and he attacked Ridge Holland, which that was a weird segment. That's a lemon, I would say, of the week. Because it was Lyra and Tatum Paxley announcing that they're going to go after the tag team titles, which great. Okay. But then Ridge Holland interrupted them. And I'm not going to lie. I was playing NHL or whatever with my friends and I had it on and I was tuning in, but I didn't have the sound on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just him talking like, what the hell is going on? Like, why are you talking? And I can pretty much sum up. The peeps in the comments can probably verify this for me, but he probably went on about Gallus, I would assume, and how he took them out or whatever that feud is done and how he wants some new, something new or whatever. And Ava's not like, I I'm not into it.
Mhm.
But what I am into is Sean Spears coming at you with a chair. Yes, like that is what I meant.
So there was a couple of things for me that I thought based on this. One, I thought it was pretty cool that I'm not saying that he's, a huge name that people are extremely excited about returning or debuting. But I do appreciate how well they kept this a secret, because I don't think anybody had any idea that it was going to be him. I mean, even when his voice started reading the haikus, like no one reacted because he doesn't have like a super identifiable voice. So
Yeah.
it's like people were still like, oh my god. And then it's almost like they had a delayed reaction when they saw him, because it was like, wait, what? Because he wasn't somebody that I ever thought would come back to WWE just based off of
Yeah.
his first run. And then of course his wife Cassie, aka Peyton Royce, is pregnant. She's with their second baby, so it's like they have a lot going on. It makes sense that he's in NXT though for that. But yeah, so I thought that was cool, and it gave me some sort of faith and maybe they can do a better job with surprises like that in the future, like keeping it under wraps. But then also my other immediate thought was, after we saw confirmation of it, he is back as Sean Spears. So to me, that's really cool. And we talked about how would they do this with Matt Cardona, because he was Zack
He's
Ryder
the next domino.
he was like,
He's next.
he was around for 10 plus years as Zack Ryder. Like, how do they bring him back but don't have him as Zack Ryder? Here you go. This is exactly how you do it. Because we were trying to figure it out. So this is like the first example of them being able to do that. And I don't mean that Matt would have to go to NXT, but people are becoming more identifiable as themselves than their names. And so it's like, Sean didn't have to come back as Ty Dillinger. First of all, it's a horrific name, but people know who he is because he's been able to make himself, his own identity outside of Ty Dillinger. So it's like it's okay for him to come back with his name. And I think the same can be said about Matt Cardona. So it's pretty cool that we're like, okay, now that we're going to see it go through and people don't care, like, oh, what was his name and why is he not that name? No one's going to care if Matt Cardona comes back through the doors and is like, I'm Matt Cardona. Like, no one's going to take issue with the fact that he's no longer Zack Ryder. So that immediately stood out to me because, Chelsea has said it's not a matter of if Matt comes to WWE, it's a matter of when. So now we know they're not afraid to bring former talent back and allow them to use different names or their real name. So I thought that was pretty exciting.
It's very exciting. I'm so happy that we're doing that. I'm so happy we're out of this BS. Like, no, it's a different person.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
no.
well, like what they did when Cody first came back.
Oh, that was
like,
bad.
He's been out of wrestling for 6 years, brother. Okay. Like, stop. Like, we barely wanted to acknowledge that he was Stardust. Like, we were supposed to pretend we didn't know that Cody Rhodes was Stardust. Like, come on.
Speaking of Stardust, he had a banger theme.
Yeah.
It was a banger theme song.
Yes,
There's
he
a
did.
lot of good ones like that.
He was very dedicated to that character, too.
Props to him. Seriously, props to him.
I also love that undashing. First of all, I didn't even realize that they called that era undashing. That was just the name I gave it because it was like he went from dashing and then had his nose broken by Rey Mysterio. And I was like, okay, he's undashing. But that's like what they're calling his character in 2K. They're like undashing Cody Rhodes. I was like, did you steal that from me?
They listen, Sarah.
I've been saying that for years. And it's just like they never really had a name for that era other than like, oh, it's masked Cody. It's like I always said he was undashing because it was like post dashing,
Yeah.
Dashing Cody Rhodes does not get the respect he deserves, I have to say. Please tell me anyone who would make brushing their teeth entertaining or funny. Anyone who plucking nose hairs, waxing or shaving your body. Like, come on. Rubbing lotion on your legs. Like, come on, guys.
Sarah,
He gave you grooming tips. All of you smelly men need to go rewatch some dashing Cody Rhodes tips, okay?
I might actually do that when I finally get that first date. I really might have to do so.
He
That'd
can help
actually
you.
be hilarious if I did that. That would be really funny. All right. Trying to get to some comments before we get into the 3 count.
I'm
Demon
surprised that there's
followed.
still so many people here.
It's unbelievable. We're trugging on. Tony K dropped the ball with Spears and made him a singles champion. Feel like you got pushed to the side for every WWE fighter that came in. Plus, theme song is my ringtone. 10.
That's the thing about why I say that the grass isn't always greener on the other side for every person who was ever let go or like asked for the release from WWE. Like the solution isn't to go straight over to AEW because they do welcome every person who ever had a connection to WWE simply because they want to be able to be like, ha ha ha, we got this guy that was in your brand. It's just funny because it's like, then you don't use them. Like, so what exactly are you doing? Like, what's the gotcha? The more of the gotcha is these guys went to your company, you did nothing with them, and then they came back better and are going to have better careers in WWE. So that's more of a gotcha, in my opinion.
It really is. I do agree with that actually. Oh, good shit. I'm trying to see. No. Let's just get to the 3 count. 3 count. 1, 2, 3. It's time for the 3 count. We're introducing some new things. Starting with 1, Indie Minute. We need to start talking about the indies here because they're awesome. As someone who was introduced to Limitless, it got me to subscribe to IWTV, and then watching Beyond Wrestling, and obviously with my guy, the Victorious One, big Stan here. We just need to talk about it, and there are a lot of great stars. I follow a lot of them. I actually was just interviewing Bobby Orlando. That was pretty cool. Hilarious human. Go follow him. He does his sick tricks. I feel like our crowd would like the Bobby Orlando sick tricks.
Sick Tricks reminds me of that one episode of Impractical Jokers where Joe was doing that, and he was like sick tricks, and he was just like doing stupid jumps, like he was pretending he had a remote control car, and he was like pretending he was a kid.
Oh
and
yeah,
like, jumping
yeah.
over, and he's like sick tricks, and it's like because like kids do that stupid stuff, and you're just like cool.
It's very Bobby Orlando. It's very Bobby Orlando. It was fun. So next week we're gonna do Indie Minute. You're gonna tell me someone you like from the indies. I'll tell you someone that is not one of my guys. We're gonna test it out, see what's going on. All right. 2 of my favorite things. All right. Rapid fire. Just quick. Just what's your favorite Mania entrance? All right, we'll start with that. We'll do that this week.
I don't know. That's hard. I really enjoyed. This is just the first one that came to my head, so I'm just gonna go with it. I really enjoyed the hundreds of John Cena's lining the entire entrance ramp. That's dedication. Like WrestleMania. All things considered, that ramp actually isn't that long compared to how long they've gotten now. But like, it's pretty impressive that they got that many dudes to line up on both sides of that ramp the entire way and just do this the whole time. Like, to me, it just felt so cool and like a kind of an understated way for him for Cena to have an entrance, because like it's so simple but
so
memorable. Like, it didn't have to have all the pyro, or like he didn't come in on this like flashy car or like from the ceiling. It was just like, I don't know. I just felt like it was kind of cool and kind of symbolic in a way. So
we're all John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going easy one for me. Limp Bizkit, WrestleMania 19, Undertaker. I mean, to have Limp Bizkit pretty much perform a mini concert, and then you come out, like, it was electric. I just unbelievable.
American Badass Undertaker is so underrated.
Underrated.
He does not get enough love. Like, I literally think that he's better than, like,
that's a different type of Undertaker.
that's the Undertaker that I like though. And it's like I just never got like intrigued by the dead man part. Like that to me, I don't know. I always liked the motorcycle riding, like I'm a badass dude. Like that's the Undertaker. That's my favorite Undertaker. And I'm not like a huge Undertaker fan, but if I had to choose, I want the red hair braided motorcycle riding Limp Bizkit Undertaker.
Brothers of Destruction.
Yeah.
Yes. That was the era. Vinny, this is a really good one. The Dom from last year was that's gonna go up there. Triple H has had some all-time ones.
Oh yeah. Of course he did though. That always
the game.
But it always pissed
Why
me
did it
off.
piss you off?
It pissed me off because there were years where he was like the only person who got a cool entrance, and I was like, they spent the entire budget on you because you're the owner's son-in-law. Like that's what pissed me off because I'm like, you don't need these entrances, you know? Like I will say I did love, I think it was at Mania, right? When he rode a four-wheeler with Stephanie on the back.
Oh my god, that was amazing. Yeah, that was a Mania. I forget which one that was. If it was the lobby where I watched that, or
I don't know, but that one was like so great, and Stephanie looked hot AF. So I was like, yep, that was a good one.
She did look on it. She did. The Rusev Tank one, I mooned the TV screen when he came out. I don't know why. I thought it was.
I could have lived my entire life without knowing that.
Well, that's what I do. I give you facts you don't need to know. What else? The Fiend coming out of the Jack in the Box.
That was really cool. The Fiend scared the shit out of me though. Like I was a full grown adult during that era, but there was just something about that mask and the lighting and the music that scared me. So
yeah, I don't get scared easy when it comes to wrestling, at least. I was terrified. I was like, that is the scariest thing I've seen in my 27 years of wrestling.
More so
24.
More than like Peak Kane. Like Peak Kane used to scare me, but I was also like 8 years old. But like there was just something about the whole presentation of the Fiend that was like made me very uneasy.
You know what didn't scare me, but I just thought was like icky?
Boogeyman.
Yeah.
No, he scared me. But I also was more so like I can't watch because he was literally so dedicated to the bit that he was legitimately eating worms, and I was like, no.
Yeah, that's where the more ick than scare comes in.
You couldn't pay me enough money, and that brother was not making any money.
No.
Okay, it's not like he was getting paid like he was Triple H.
Remember when he ripped the whatever you want to call it off of Jillian's face with his mouth? Like,
no.
Like, and you just ripped it off. You know, it's just gross. Oh, he was gross. It's really all the creepy ones. All right, and 3 to wrap up this extended edition. We got to finish the show, but before we do that, I have to ask the question: should I finish my story in 2K? 2K releases March 1st. No, March 5th. March 5th. My bad. March 5th it releases. And I'm having an idea, Sarah. I know we've talked about in the NWF and whatnot, and I do want to get that going at some point. Problem is that, we talked about on the show, time being an issue. So here's my solution to that. All right, we'll start in its infancy stages. Before you can have a brand and a promotion, you need to have a wrestler. And I think instead of trying to do that whole production, why not just have me stream my Rise mode or Road to WrestleMania with my guy in the new my player mode, and I will create Nonsense, the character I've been playing. It's either him or Frostbite. Frostbite was sick. That was my OG character. He's actually on the Nonsense Sports Network YouTube. He main evented the only pay-per-view I did for it. But no, I want to do that, and I asked that now because I'm wondering if the peeps here would be interested in that. Like, would that be something that they would, you guys would tune into if I streamed it, once a week, or depending on twice a week. Me going through the entire story mode and, finishing my own story. What do we think?
I think it would be fine. I'm not saying I would sit there and watch every time, but
But like if I did like updates,
Yeah.
like, you know, like, yeah, I think that'd be like a pretty cool thing.
Yeah,
And it
'cause-
goes along with what I'm working on already. So,
well, because I don't know if I'll get the game because like I don't have a PlayStation or anything. So
they have Switch.
really,
I'm like 90% sure you can get on the Switch.
I don't know, but
We look it up right now.
I don't think
you can.
so. But anyway, I mean, maybe I don't know. I haven't played a wrestling game in so long, so
It is a little different because the controls are a lot more fine-tuned.
yeah.
Oh, it's not on the Switch. My bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think so.
Oh, well, it's only Xbox, PS, and PC. So, yeah, that's all we got. That's all we got for you guys here today. Thank you for tuning in to this extended edition, as we will not be going live on Saturday. Enjoy your Saturday by not only subscribing to the channel, hit that button, hit the button right now, hit it, and then go into the archives and checking out all our clips. I know people who are usual suspects here tuned in a little late. Well, you can just go and watch the beginning half of the show in the archives. And for anyone who is new and wants to know more about us, go follow those links. Go follow our social medias in the links in the descriptions below. There's a lot of them to just ramble off. And we've been talking for 1 minute 45 and 36 seconds. And we already still have, close to 10 people. He's still, great. And we got donos today. Like, thank you guys so much. This was a really, great thing, and we really appreciate you. And on the road to WrestleMania, it's going to be a fun one. We're only 30 something days away from being in Philadelphia. So I can't wait for that. And I'm excited for it. And until next time, until Tuesday for the Raw Rewind, thank you for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you can do it. All you got to do is try. See you on Tuesday. Yeah.